It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com and search for the KBC News Blitz and wherever you get your podcasts and hit subscribe. There's some pretty breaking news out there. The LA County Board of Supervisors voted 4-to abstain to create its own department to coordinate regional homeless services. What does that mean? The LA County Board of Supervisors has just voted to defund the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority and create their own department that is not shackled together with the city of Los Angeles. We're pretty much replacing one bureaucracy with another bureaucracy, but now only the county controls all the money. The city doesn't get any say in where any of that money goes, which is why you saw the ultra odd sight today of members of the LA City Council running out of City Hall today so they could join public comment at the LA County Board of Supervisors meeting to make their voice heard because they need that money. If they don't have any money, they don't have any power to send things to their friends who then send it back to them through donations and support and get them elected. We all know how this game works. Is this going to improve homeless response in the county and city of Los Angeles? Who knows? At this point, that May meeting with Judge Carter is coming real quick, and he might put all of the funding in the city and the county into a receivership because none of these people can be trusted, and I don't necessarily think this is going to help at all. But we might as well enjoy ourselves while we can. Let's listen to members of the city council and Karen Bass. She didn't show up, but she vehemently opposed this motion. Lose. The LA Board of Supervisors said, screw you, Karen Bass, screw you, Nithya Raman, screw you, Bob Blumenfeld, screw you, Tim McCosker, screw you, Isabel Urado, and the rest of y'all, Katie Yaroslavsky, who all went to beg, don't defund LAHSA. It doesn't matter that we can't track the results and we have nothing to show for it in 10 years. It doesn't matter. Let's find out what happened. Let's start with the queen of homelessness herself. And I call Nithya that because Nithya had a homeless nonprofit before she ran for office, made so much money from it that she ran for office. And we had a chance to kick her out last year, and we didn't. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. It's because a third guy got into the race. You had Mr. City Prosecutor dude. I forget what his name was. It was a long time ago. He was running against Nithya. And then someone else from the neighborhood council wanted to run against both of them. And he ended up getting 10%. Nithya got 51%. And this other guy got 40%. It could have happened. We could have had a top two. We could have had this thing going in November. And I don't know if Nithya would have survived, but it's okay. We got to move on. Let's hear Nithya whine and kick and scream because don't defund my LAHSA. That's where I get my money to pay my friends.
Yep, it's on.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone, for giving us a chance to speak. And thank you especially to Supervisors Mitchell and Hahn for being so nice.
Remember, this sound is extra fun because everything they asked for, they got rejected.
My name is Nithya. I'm the chair of the Housing and Homelessness Committee in the city of LA. And I want to acknowledge that our homeless services sector is deeply challenged and that LAHSA has...
It's a total failure. And you can't track where the money is. And the judge just found out that in 18 years, they can't track where any of the money went, if any of it was spent wisely.
And that LAHSA has very, very real challenges.
But don't get rid of it. We need it. That's where we funnel all the money to our friends.
Over my time as chair, I have worked closely with my fellow leaders in the city and the county, as well as LAHSA, to fund new innovative programs and to secure the data we need for accountability.
Do we have that? Because that would be nice.
A problem that we've all acknowledged is very real. And I am...
No, whether it's the city of Los Angeles and Karen Bass's Inside Safe program, it's LAHSA or all the other programs, the state programs as well, we do not have the ability to track the outcomes or track the results for this ridiculous amount of money that just got spent. And by the way, what's going on here is very interesting. There's a reason that this is happening now and not last year or the year before that or the year before that, or the year before that. The new sales tax just kicked in, where now the Prop H money has been replaced by Prop A money, which is double. And the county's making a power grab here. They want to be responsible for how all of that money gets spent. They don't want to have to split it with the city of Los Angeles. Doesn't matter. We're not going to have good outcomes whether the county is running this thing or the city is running this thing. All of these people involved at the County Board of Supervisors and LA City Hall are either corrupt or incompetent or both.
And I am very proud to say that although we have a long way to go ahead, this deeply unsexy work on data and metrics has actually produced results in the city of LA.
No, it hasn't.
We've had a 10% reduction in street homelessness thanks to our work and investments citywide.
You're going to hear that number over and over and over and over and over again. That from 2023 to 2024, the homeless number in the city of LA went down 10%. But the county, which surrounds the city of Los Angeles, did not see any drop. It saw a drop of about 200 people. So did you really get 10% of the homeless off the streets, which would LA County would be about 5,000 people? Or did they end up on the other side of the governing line when the count happened? Maybe they're on the border of LA and East LA or one of these unincorporated areas. Maybe it was all a rounding error and this 10% number is crap, because if it was really 10% better, you'd think we'd notice it.
And a 40% reduction in street homelessness in my district last year.
Okay, now we know she's full of crap. Nithya Raman, who happens to be in charge of the Sherman Oaks area and parts of Los Feliz, claims that homelessness has been reduced 40% in her district. Nobody is buying that BS. Nithya.
And a 40% reduction in street homelessness in my district last year, with more reductions expected in this coming year.
No, that is fudging the numbers. That is not true. We've seen what's been going on in Sherman Oaks over the last few years. It is not 40% better. That's crap.
I've also been closely working with LAHSA on a question that we've had for a very long time, which is, what data do we need for performance management? And for the first time, we've actually seen improvements in that data. And we've already...
Really? Because the judge just looked at the LAHSA numbers and can't find any data for anything.
We've already been able to use that data to make significant improvements in the number of people moving indoors and off the streets.
This is what they always say. Oh, it's been bad, but it's getting better. It's getting better. You hear Gavin say this, you hear them say this. It's been so bad, but don't you worry. We're getting our stuff together now. No, they are not. And I'm not saying the solution is to move all this money into a new department for the county, making even more bureaucracy real. No, all of these people should not be in charge of this. Or maybe, fundamentally, you cannot spend your way out of this problem, because all the money that has been spent since 2016 in Measure H and Triple H, the homeless population exploded. And they'd love to tell you that despite all of that, if you realized if we didn't spend this money, the number would be even higher. I don't believe it for a second.
I thought I would have 3 minutes. That's what my staff told me. I'm just going to finish reading this, if that's okay.
Oh, this is super rude. So, 5 members of the LA City Council left their job to go complain at the Board of Supervisors meeting, and they were only allotted about 2 minutes each. But Nithya, seeing that her time is up, is like, no, I need more time. Do you think they let the public commenters at LA City Hall do that? But Nithya is rude.
I thought I would have 3 minutes. That's what my staff told me. I'm just going to finish reading this, if that's okay. I've also spent countless hours over the last few months serving on bodies set up by the county that are oversight bodies
Where was the oversight on LAHSA with their head, Dr. Valicia Adams-Kellum, formerly of the St. Joseph Center corrupt organization, who's making $430,000 a year to not solve homelessness, wrote a check from LAHSA to her husband's nonprofit? Where's the oversight on that?
To coordinate our services better and to improve outcomes. And that's why I was deeply disappointed to see that the Board of Supervisors is moving ahead with a plan to remove all Measure A and other dollars from LAHSA.
This isn't about accountability. This is not about transparency. This isn't about better outcomes. This is about the county seeing a giant pot of money and they want full control of it.
Without consulting the city of Los Angeles, its partner in that effort, and a partner that has matched the hundreds of millions of dollars that the county provides.
And where did that money go? Because we could really use it right now, Nithya. We're in a $1 billion budget shortfall.
Many of us on this council campaigned for Measure A, and it was voted in primarily with the support of LA City voters who
This isn't about wanting better transparency. This isn't about accountability. This is 100% about Nithya not getting the dollars that she needs to be able to funnel to her friends in the nonprofit world. That's all this is about.
And it was voted in primarily with the support of LA City voters who believed in the language of the measure of greater coordination and accountability.
I can't explain it. The same exact election where George Gascon got knocked out, where Prop 36 passed overwhelmingly, the residents of LA County said, yes, we will double tax ourselves on the homelessness because what these people need is even more money to throw down the drain. There are a lot of weird things about that election. I mean, yes, the fact that the DSA ranks grew at the same time that George Gascon got kicked out, but you got to look at those individual races. Kevin De Leon never stood a chance, and that's why Isabel's here. She's at this meeting, too.
And I believe strongly that these voters may not have supported it if they knew that these dollars would be moved into the county without input and partnership from the city. That is what I'm asking for today.
The voters don't know what any of that means, nor do they care. But they feel bad when they see people suffering on the streets and think, sure, what's another quarter-cent sales tax? It's not even about how much that's going to impact everybody's lives, although that does add up over time. And you look at the disparity where now it's 2% more sales tax to live in LA County as opposed to Orange County. And if you live in Lancaster, it's 11.25%. What the hell is going on up there? But these programs have not worked, and you could argue have made the problem worse. We're attracting more flies with all the money that's out there.
What I fear most is that we are moving the money from one bureaucracy to another, one that
we are. That's what we're doing.
One that the city of LA has much less visibility into.
Only because we've got all the council members. That's why we limited it, because I'm letting you go out. There's a lot of people that want to.
I'm just going to finish this, and then, we're going to.
Well, you just lost Catherine Barger's vote. Twice they have tried to tell Nithya, move on. There's a whole bunch of you that want to speak. But no, Nithya's the most important one of them all. Screw you, Nithya.
Potentially jeopardizing all of the shared progress that we've made. Our hundreds of millions of dollars in investments are invested in shared programs that are at risk of falling apart when you move quickly.
You mean the programs that you cannot track the results of under this broad umbrella of services? Services could mean getting somebody an appointment for a doctor. Services could also mean handing somebody a water bottle, or what we've seen in San Francisco, asking if someone wants a cigarette.
And we are also at a time of great federal funding risk. What we need right now...
Cut it all off. And cut off Nithya. They should have cut off her mic like they do at LA City Council.
What we need right now is collaboration and planning and not uncertainty. And I remain uncertain about why moving from one bureaucracy to another will actually help us achieve the outcomes that we have already been moving towards and that we desperately want to get to.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember.
Why didn't they turn off her microphone? That's so rude. She spoke 2 minutes longer than she was supposed to. She didn't say anything important. She did not sway them, obviously. In fact, Barger might have voted against her just because how rude that was. But that's Nithya for you. But again, we only have ourselves to blame. There was an opportunity to knock out Nithya last year, and we didn't take it. There was an opportunity to say no to LA County for more homeless spending. You're already getting $1 billion a year, and you don't know what you're doing with it. You don't know where it's going. There's also the homeless tax in the city of Los Angeles, Triple H. Where's that money going? We don't know. By the way, the other fun thing about Measure A, H was a temporary measure that was going to expire at the end of 2026. It got replaced with Measure A, which is permanent. How fun is that? There literally will never be a solution to the problem because the funding goes on forever. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. Whether it's the city or the county, do you trust any of these people to solve homelessness? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. We'll take your calls, and of course, we'll hear from the rest of the members of the city council who brought their tiny violin to the Board of Supervisors to unsuccessfully ask the board to not defund LAHSA. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're listening to today's LA County Board of Supervisors meeting, where members of the LA City Council left their meeting to go to public comment to beg the LA County Board of Supervisors not to defund the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority and create their own homeless department, which was unsuccessful because they did. And LAHSA will be defunded, and now all the money for Measure A is going to be solely controlled by the county. Is that going to mean anything good for anybody? Don't really know. But at least we can take a little enjoyment in hearing the pleas of the members of the city council that showed up and unsuccessfully lobbied the Board of Supervisors, because all of these people are failures and they could not track where any of this money was for years and years and years. Who's up next?
Councilmember.
Great. Thank you.
Oh, it's Bob Blumenfeld of the West Valley. I was just driving around his district on Sunday, and I was in shock of how many tents are right outside the vicinity of the Topanga Village and the Westfield Topanga Center, which is supposed to be like the ritziest mall areas in the valley. The hell?
Thank you.
And don't even drive around the old promenade that's eventually going to be demolished for the Rams practice facility, because you go up Owen's Mouth, it is nothing but tents there. It is gross.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members. It's good to see you all. You are friends and you are partners. But
buttering them up isn't going to work here, buddy.
And
by the way, none of this matters, because I guarantee in 2 months, when the city and the county and Karen Bass go back to Judge Carter, who's dealing with the massive lawsuit against the city and county for not being able to track where all this money is being spent, they're not going to have a good solution. And the judge is going to put all of this money in front of a receivership. Will that solve the problem? Who knows?
But we're here because we are concerned about this breakup, and in terms of if the county is looking inward, we're worried what that means in terms of the services that we need to receive. As you know, LAHSA was created because there were not clear lines of communication through lawsuits. And
there's still not clear lines of communication, and there's constant pointing back and forth of, this isn't my responsibility, this isn't my responsibility. We've seen that whenever you have an encampment that's in a contested territory, whether it's city or county property.
That never really got,
or unincorporated territory.
That never really got fully resolved throughout LAHSA, and I fear it actually could get worse without under this new arrangement. Because as my colleague mentioned, these dollars are dollars that city residents are paying for. Measure A is not just county dollars. These are Angelinos who not only supported this, but who are the majority of the homeless folks. So
that's not exactly a thing you should be proud of.
So, I think of the old store. When you go in a store, if you break it, you own it. We're breaking up LAHSA here is the way I see what's happening. And there's going to be a lot of ownership on the county in terms of the responsibilities for services. And I know it's not technically breaking it up, but you pull out all of that money.
And by the way, all this is meaningless. All the people that were working at LAHSA are now going to work at the county department. And like we're really going to see more oversight and more accountability, we're not.
It's just the city, basically, at this point. What LAHSA would just become, an outgrowth of the city, and we'd have to figure out how to manage that situation. But anyway, here to express, I know my time has expired, I'm here to express our concern.
Once again, someone else going over. Kick him out.
And really to redouble the efforts to partner with you all, because at the end of the day, whatever the structure looks like, if we are going to tackle homelessness, it is going to have to happen together. What
happened to when Karen Bass got in office and she was locking arms with the county, and then Lindsay Horvath declared an emergency and they're locking arms with the city? To quote Lindsay Horvath in that text message she sent to Karen Bass, doesn't seem so much like locked arms now, does it?
And the services and the human services, we all know that falls on the county. And we have been putting our general fund in, but we have to work with you, because the real money is not our general fund. That can't sustain it. It's Measure A and the other funding. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can you imagine what we could have done with that money over the last 10 years? Whether it's building or converting a massive mental hospital for the mentally ill, building a massive rehab hospital for the people on drugs, and all the other people that don't fit in those categories, you could probably give them some general assistance and put them in the right direction and get them a job, and they'll be fine. But we didn't do that. We set up a massive bureaucracy, and we have no way to tell where any of this money went, but a whole bunch of nonprofits are getting rich off of this, including places like Homeless Healthcare Los Angeles, the nonprofit I will never shut up about because we give them local, state, and federal dollars to pass out meth pipes on Skid Row. Great job. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. We're going through the sound of today's LA County Board of Supervisors meeting where they voted to defund the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, the joint authority between the city and the county that for 30 years has been supposed to solve homelessness, that hasn't been able to track where any of the money has been spent in the last 18 years. Members of the city council came to plead for the board to not defund LAHSA and create their own department that the city has no control over because they need that money to make it rain on their friends. We're going to keep listening to this because I think it's lots of fun. The cries of the members of the city council fell silent, including Karen Bass, who didn't show up in person but strongly opposed this move. Because it was Karen Bass that personally appointed Dr. Valicia Adams-Kellum to LAHSA to make $430,000 a year and not account for where any of the money has been spent and write a $2 million check to her husband's nonprofit. These people are all crooked and corrupt.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's Isabel's turn. This is the girl that replaced Kevin De Leon.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I want to start off by saying let's start with what we can all agree on. We need more accountability and transparency as we provide services to those experiencing homelessness.
Yep, feel like we've been hearing that for about 10 years.
We all have a clear sense of what the problem is. However, the solution under consideration today feels rushed, and I have serious concerns that it could lead to service disruptions.
Oh, no. Homeless Healthcare Los Angeles isn't going to get their check to pass out the meth pipes on Skid Row. Whatever are we going to do? I'd love to see Judge Carter put a freeze on all of this money for 30 days, and let's see what actually happens. Then you'll find out real quick which programs were effective and which programs have been a cash grab, waste of money, possible embezzlement.
As a council member representing Skid Row, the area with the highest density of unhoused people, I know full well that any delay in providing services to people experiencing homelessness is a matter of life and death.
I would love to see on a chart what services they're talking about.
And we need to balance accountability with stability, and stability often takes time.
So we don't actually want accountability, right, Isabel?
And as we navigate this transition, we ask that the new county department report monthly to ECRA and how the transition is going and discuss impacts to the city and region. And more locally, I'm happy to partner with Supervisor Solis to create a new Skid Row Action Plan work group.
That's what we need, an even bigger committee to go with this committee, to go with that committee, to go with this committee. It's all nonsense. These are all the same people making the same bad decisions.
So that we can make sure that as part of this transition, we can make the folks in Skid Row know that they are taken care of and ensure accountability and communication across parties as we move this path forward. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not going to visit your district anytime soon, baby.
Thank you, Supervisor.
At least I think she stayed within the minute. She did. Good for her. She went 1:15, but not like Nithia's three rude minutes.
Thank you, Supervisor. Councilmember Yaroslavsky.
Oh, we have fun, don't we? Yes, Katie Young Yaroslavsky. She's the daughter-in-law to Zev Yaroslavsky, so she made sure to tack that last name on to get her elected. She, before she was on the LA City Council, was a head staffer to Sheila Kuehl. Y'all remember Sheila Kuehl of the LA County Board of Supervisors, don't you?
Sort of, snowflake weepies.
Yeah, that one.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Supervisors. This is my first time here as a council member. I'm our new Budget and Finance Committee Chair at the city. I've known and worked with all of you for at least a decade. And you know
That shouldn't bring any confidence here.
And you know that I'm not a grandstander, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it was really important. We all share the same goals. We want a functioning system that quickly and cost-effectively moves people off the streets.
We haven't had that, and we will never have that with these people in charge.
And prevents homelessness in the first place.
That's not a thing.
Despite a challenging...
All the money that LAHSA has spent to, quote, prevent homelessness, whether it's emergency rental assistance, what have you, has not done a thing. Or if it did, they sure as hell didn't track the results.
Despite a challenging and often frustrating and inefficient LAHSA, we have made real progress together, and that progress is at risk. Because regional challenges require regional solutions. That's why we have Metro, which we all sit on together, and AQMD.
Are you really touting these boards as successes? Metro is a mess.
LAHSA's governance never included.
I will say, the whole way the city of Los Angeles is shaped around the county is so bizarre. You know, San Francisco has a lot of problems, but at least there's not this nonsensical finger pointing because the city and the county are the same thing. Los Angeles is a huge city, 4 million people. The county of LA is the biggest county in the nation, 10 million people. Maybe, just maybe, it's a little too big. But you know what? We tried to do that whole secession thing, and that somehow didn't work out.
LAHSA's governance never included 87.
Can't blame me for that. I wasn't old enough to vote.
LAHSA's governance never included 87 out of 88 of the cities within the county, and so it was destined to fail.
Yeah, how do you feel if you're Burbank or you're Santa Monica or you're Long Beach? LA's dragging you down.
So fine, let's move past it and build something better. It's important, though, that we do that together and are clear-eyed about what this transition looks like.
Translation, you're not taking away my Measure A dollars. I want my Measure A dollars because I have nonprofits in my district that I need to make rich.
Every single one of our constituents is also your constituent. And if you significantly defund LAHSA too quickly without working with us to provide for what's next, I worry that our shared constituents who rely upon us to work together will suffer. I want to talk for just 1 second about relative capacity because I think it's really important here as we talk about transition. You can stand up a department very quickly because you have hundreds of county employees who are already working on homelessness in various departments and initiatives.
And we can't track any of their results either.
We have about a dozen. If you defund LAHSA in the way...
By the way, that tells you how much of this money goes out to these crooked nonprofits. Almost all of it. Because we don't have that many city staffers that deal with this. It's all about contracting to the organizations with the most pull so they get your funding and then they donate to your reelection campaign over and over and over again on an issue that is insolvable, intractable, and we can keep asking for more money for.
If you defund...
And it worked. The people who keep failing you keep getting reelected. The system that has not shown any results got a doubling of its funding.
If you defund LAHSA in the way contemplated today and take hundreds of LAHSA's best folks, the risk of unintended consequences is high. So please, 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 let's work together on a sustainable transition plan and then move quickly to implement, making sure there are no gaps in coverage. And just to close, at this moment when the federal government is defunding everything they can,
for good reason sometimes.
We don't have the luxury, neither the city or the county, of being anything less than completely coordinated and laser focused on outcomes. And so we just ask that you work with us to make sure that there aren't negative unintended consequences for our shared constituents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, they voted to shut it down anyway. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to Dale in Long Beach. Dale, hello.
Hey, Randy, according to my computer, LAHSA has put 110,000 people in permanent housing in the last 7 years. You have any idea where these people are living?
Nope, and neither do they.
I'm not even sure that measure passed. I would like a recount. Thanks, Randy.
I think you make a really good point. Thanks for the call, Dale. Appreciate it. Don't even get me started on this term, permanent supportive housing. How permanent is permanent? Because if they're so crazy they need to be in a mental institution, then we need to have more locked facilities, which we don't. Drug addiction isn't something you need to be permanently dealt with for. Now, some drug addictions are so bad it might take close to a year to get off the stuff and be clean and be successful. But who exactly it needs to be permanently housed. How permanent is permanent? Does any of this make sense to you? Doesn't make sense to me. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. If you'd like to email us, you can do so at randykabc@gmail.com. Vince writes in and says, this is simple. They got doged. Love your passion presenting this topic, Vince. It is a little what's going on here. The problem is the people making the cuts are as crooked as the people who got cut. And all the employees aren't getting fired. They're just going from a department that was run by the city and the county to just a department that's run by the county. And the nonprofits are not getting defunded yet. But a lot of them really should. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC as we go through the sound of members of the LA City Council begging the Board of Supervisors not to defund the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, which they did on a vote of 4-0 because Holly Mitchell abstained. We're going to have a little fun here at the end here because the last person to speak is Tim McCosker, and we're going to play a game. What was Tim McCosker more passionate about? The defunding of LAHSA or 2028 Olympic sailing going to Long Beach and not San Pedro?
Last but not least.
Thank you very much. My supervisor, Tim McCosker, council member of the 1-5. Thank you so much for having us here. I appreciate Supervisor Mitchell's amendments very much. I think we all do. And I'm quite sure that Supervisor Hahn's amendments, which we haven't heard because she deferred, will be also very, very helpful. But I want to come back to something that you said, Supervisor Barger, and how this all started. Go back to pre-1993. It wasn't the city and the county suing each other. It was Mayor Tom Bradley picking up the phone and calling City Attorney Jim Hahn and saying the county is failing. The county is failing us, and they have responsibility statutorily under Welfare and Institutions Code 17,000. And that lawsuit was filed, and it became a long, protracted negotiation that you probably remember, with Supervisor Edelman being significant in those negotiations.
Isn't it funny how all this goes back over 30 years and the problem's only gotten worse?
And what we collectively formed was LAHSA. Should it have included the probably 85 cities or 83 cities back then? Yeah, probably should have. But it was a piece of litigation between the city and the county. And the county, in response to you are not fulfilling your obligation, said, let's work on this together. And did it outlive its purpose? Did it outlive its usefulness? Does it have problems? We don't want to be here defending LAHSA as LAHSA, but we want to be here.
Well, you want to make sure you still get the money. You need that money. Got to make all your friends rich.
Defending the proposition that we are one of those cities, 88 cities, and we need to have this discussion. We need to be stakeholders. We need to work together. And it is critically important that we who have tons of general fund in this game, we put out tons and tons of general fund. And to say that you're going to be revenue neutral after this is a little unimpressive. It's a little unimpressive as a commitment to urgency.
So there's Tim McCosker of the 1-5 talking about the defunding of LAHSA. Now it's time to find out, what was he more passionate about? That, or when he spoke at Friday's LA City Council meeting, raging about the fact that Long Beach is getting Olympic sailing and not San Pedro?
So when you think about this, when LA 28 came to us and said we want to analyze it, we were able to analyze what will it be for the athlete? Better wind and spectators. What will it be for safety and security? I guarantee you that San Pedro would be the safest Olympic event in the history of the Olympics, given our capacities. What will it be for finances? You will hear from these guys who will tell you, oh, a new site will have to spend $10 million with absolutely no math. When I came up in school, the nuns told me, show your math, show your work. We've seen nothing, absolutely nothing.
What does it tell you about the priorities of the members of the city council and the board of supervisors that they could say all they want, how much they care about solving homelessness and helping the unhoused? The most passion I've ever heard this man is when he found out the regatta's not going to San Pedro.
But I will tell you that selling tickets to the number of maybe 10,000 or selling tickets to the number of 0 has a mathematical and financial difference. And it's not going to be borne by Long Beach. It's going to be borne by us.
He's so mad.
They will say, oh, this is an Olympics where we have so many more events in Los Angeles than we had in '84. I don't care. That's your arguing point. That's not my arguing point. My point is that moving sailing to San Pedro is better for the athlete.
See what they really care about, what they really get passionate about and start crying about?
It's better for the sport of sailing. It's better for safety and security. It's better for the viewer. And it's better for Los Angeles. It's better for us financially.
This guy's breaking down in tears over the sailing going to Long Beach.
When we say that this has been studied and studied and studied, maybe it's been studied, show your math. Show us. So what I'm asking you today is vote yes on this amendment. It says we will approve your venue plan. I'm not going to question whether we should go to Oklahoma City for softball, but I do question what is obviously a mistake. And instead of some back room, a couple of bros making this decision somewhere,
who are you talking about?
Let's do something for the sport. Let's do something for the Olympic movement. Let's do something for Los Angeles. Most importantly, let's do something for the spectator.
This is actual passion, something he actually cares about. And I didn't hear that from any of the members of the Board of Supervisors or the LA City Council when talking about homelessness or LAHSA, because it's all about the money for them. And whether it's governed by the city and the county or the county, you should be able to fall asleep well tonight knowing that it's going to be wasted either way. Thank you all so much for listening. It's such a pleasure to do this show for you every single day. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang every day from 5 to 6 on Talk Radio 790 KABC.